for myself, I was 6 years old when I had my near-death experience. I was in a children's ward during an epidemic of measles encephalitis, and I contracted it, and it caused swelling on the brain that put me into a week-long coma. And then that's when I had my near-death experience. And all I remember was feeling very, very sick when I came downstairs for breakfast and told my mom that I was going to lay on the couch for a little bit until breakfast was ready. And the next thing I knew, I woke up very frightened in a hospital bed with doctors all around me in white jerseys and masks and just shaking their heads, saying, I don't know what's wrong with her. Do you know what's wrong with her? Do you know what's wrong? And I became very, very frightened at that point. And I remember just going into total blackness, just total blackness with no sound, and feeling very frightened, very alone. And I stayed in that for a very short period of time until I started noticing a very dim light over in the right corner. So I just intuitively set my intention and my focus on that light. And as I did, it started to grow brighter and brighter and brighter. And I was drawn to it. And I could see it was at the end of a very long tunnel. But as that light grew brighter, I could see a man was in the distance. He was standing at the end of that tunnel, and he put his hand out to me, reaching out. And as he did that, I just felt this tremendous love and safety coming from him that I just automatically started to gravitate, to float towards him. And the next thing I knew, he took my hand. He held my hand, and it felt very warm, and I felt very safe, and I wasn't afraid anymore. And then from that, we seemed to just drift to this beautiful valley. It was we were coming across a meadow with green grass, and we kind of went up a hill. And as we started to go up the hill, I could hear music. I could hear just people laughing in fun, just a high vibration of fun. And once we got to the top of the hill and we looked down, it was absolutely beautiful. It was green grass. There were people having like a picnic, and they were in large groups having fun and laughing. And there was a beautiful stream of water along over to the left, and there were people there, and ducks, and a lot of wildlife, lots of animals. And all of a sudden there was a group of women that were together, and they saw us coming over this hill, and they got so excited, they came running towards us. And I thought they were excited to see this man that I was with, but it was me. It was me, and they just wrapped their arms around me, and they were embracing me and hugging me. And I had no idea who these women were, but I just knew that they loved me, and they were just so happy to see me. So I felt so loved and so safe with these people that I had no idea how much time went by. But the next thing I was aware of was we left this beautiful place, and we were back in my hospital room, and I could see myself laying on the bed, and my mother was in a chair, and she was off to the side, and she was crying. So this man still was holding my right hand, never let go of it the whole time, and we floated over to her, and he put his left arm around my mother, and he was patting her shoulder, just comforting her, telling her, don't worry, don't worry, Evelyn, Mary's going to be all right. Mary's going to be all right. So when he said that, I felt very assured myself that I was back. I could see my mom. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up. I was waking up from my coma. And I was totally unaware of how long it had been. It had been a week. And the doctors were all so excited. They were calling me a miracle child, because I was the only child in the ward who did not suffer any permanent body or brain damage from the encephalitis. I felt extremely blessed by being this lucky. Being a young child, I didn't really quite understand it all and what it meant, but I just knew that I was different. I was different. I didn't have a lot of the fears that other children had. And it wasn't until I was about 9 years old that my mother shared with me just how serious how sick I was and how serious it was. And she said to me, though, she said, you know, she said, I didn't believe those doctors. They told Daddy and I that you might die, or you might have some real serious illness after that. But she said, I never believed them. She said, I just knew you were going to be all right. I just knew it. I just knew you were. So I looked at her and I said, well, of course you knew. I said, that man told you. And I said, what? She said, what man? And I said, the man I was with when I wasn't with you and Daddy. And she said, describe this man to me. So I said, he was tall and thin, and he had a beautiful suit, three-piece suit, and he had white hair. And I said, he had a warm hand. I said, he held my hand the whole time. And I said, he went over to you and put his arm around you. I saw him put his arm around you and tell you that I would be all right, to not worry, that I would be all right. So with that, she started to cry. And she said, oh my God, you just described my father. He died the year before you were born. And I had always wished he had lived to see you be born, because I knew he would love you. And I said, well, he does love me. That's what I felt the whole time. So with that, and at age 9, you know, my mother, I was very blessed. She was both of my parents were so wonderful, and she was very psychic. And she knew that I was aware of things that other people were not. So she told me to please come and tell her first anything that happened to me, which was a godsend, because she'd say, oh, that's very interesting, Mary, but let's not share that with anybody else right now. But that gift led me on a journey of trying to discover what I already intuitively knew as a child, that love is eternal, that our loved ones are not near. I was able to see ghosts in my house and whatnot, and that they are near us when we're in times of difficulty, and we can call on them, and they do come and try to comfort us. I was a business major. That's how I started out my career, and I was in real estate and residential home construction, and I loved the land. I loved working with the land. I didn't want an older house because I didn't want to have to deal with ghosts. So it was funny being in the construction business anyway. I said to my husband, oh, we're not going to buy an existing house. We're going to build on land. I don't want to deal with anybody else's ghosts, right? So God bless him too. He was really very understanding of me. But what I learned is that ghosts are on the land. They're not in the house. And when you build a beautiful home, they're very thrilled to move in with you. So with that knowledge and wanting to know more about it, that led me to start to study shamanism, which is learning about the land and the oneness of all things in the universe, in feng shui, in space clearing, dowsing, to try to understand these energies and why they continue on the land, and what can we do to bring the land back into balance. So it's actually very interesting too, because today my shaman Don Oscar spoke at 3 o'clock today in room 2. So if anybody's interested in knowing more about shamanism, please listen to his recording. I know you will really enjoy it. But all of this was very helpful to me, because at the young age of 26, my family started losing family members. We actually lost 6 of them in 5 years, and most of them were young, the youngest being only 18 months old. So my gift of having a sixth sense and an intuitive ability, I was able to receive messages from them. and other family members were too. And those signs and synchronicities that we received from them helped my family and my extended family with the grieving process that we were going through. And that led me actually to writing my first book, Believe in Forever, How to Recognize Signs from Departed Loved Ones, because signs for me were not just right at the funeral and shortly thereafter. They continued. It continued on. And unfortunately, when I lost my husband at only age 46, at our daughter's wedding, the signs were so pronounced with orbs, white orbs, in 3 different cameras, 3 different photographers. The orbs were strategically where he would have been standing in the photograph, the family photograph. So I felt that divinely guided to write the book, Believe in Forever, so that I could share the photographs, I could share the different experiences with other families. And that it's been a huge success. And I love speaking about it. I love going to book signings so that I can meet other grieving families and members and hear their stories. What I really love is I have so many people come up to me and say, they tell me their story and say, I can't tell this to anyone. I'm so glad you're here, you know, or they'll say, I don't know why I'm even at this event today, but now when I see your book, I know I'm supposed to buy your book. So I really love that. And this last winter, I was guided to write the book, Trust It. You have the power within you, teaching people the techniques of how to access that inner guidance. What you feel is truth, what's in your heart, what's right for you, not what's right for the masses or the world. Each one of us is a divine light, a divine love, and we have to know what's right for us, what's right for our path, for each one of us to share our gifts and to be able to help others. I'm enjoying just releasing that, and it's available on my website. It's also available on Amazon.com. My website is my name, MaryCatherineVolk.com. And I find now, you know, especially now that I'm getting older and I have 3 beautiful little grandchildren who live in Texas and I live in Rhode Island, that my mission now, I think, is to do more with writing books and speaking and in sharing this knowledge and this information with other people, so that they'll know that even though they lose a loved one, they're not far. They're not far, and we can call on them. We can call on our angels. We can call on our God. Ask and you shall receive. You know, I think our loved ones are there, and they don't like to intervene, but they're not far. And to me, I like to put them to work. That was my feeling, especially my husband when he ducked out at 46, leaving me with his business and 2 teenage daughters. It's like, no. I'm going to need your help, and you better be there. So, and he has been. He has been. So he actually, I know he helped me write both of these books. So I'm truly blessed and grateful to still have him in my life. So I'm so happy to have been invited to be on this panel with all these other lovely ladies, and I know you're going to enjoy all of their stories as well. So thank you.